my 1970 AM General M813 5-ton military cargo truck. I've owned it about 2 years now, a little less than that, but I think I have enough experience now with how it acts. I'll do a video on it. So let's get started. So first I want to point out a few obvious things. For one, the bumper's bent. I'm aware of it. Eventually I'll straighten it, not really worried about it. Second, grill is from a multi-fuel 5-ton. It's flat. The correct grill for this would be at an angle. It would either be, I believe in this year, being a 1970, it'd be a bar grill. But I'm not sure if that has to do with the year it was made or who it was made for. I've heard that the Marine trucks didn't have the tubular grills and they all had bar grills. I'm not really sure, but either way, I know this is the wrong grill. Eventually I'll get the right one. And the boot, already throwing grease everywhere. I did these about, I don't know, 2 months after I got the truck, and I put new one-piece boots on, and well, this one's not, but this one is spewing grease out. So that'll have to be done soon. I'm gonna put a zipper boot this time. And last thing, the tires are pretty much bald. They're working for now, but I am gonna put super singles on this, which I know a lot of people may or may not care for that, but I wanna get the higher top end speed and a few other things, so it's worth it. So since I mentioned it, one of the first things I did was take these hubs off, put new bearings, put new boots, and checked all the brakes. And someone had recently redone the brakes, but they just didn't touch any of the wheel bearings or anything. But these boots they were torn, all the pieces. And water had got in here from where someone drove it through a little stream or something, and it rusted all the bearings out and pitted them up really bad. So that was one of the first things I had to do. But I also put new brake hoses on the front. Where is it? Right there. All new hoses and everything. Of course, this truck being a single circuit master cylinder and being air over hydraulic, it's really important that your brakes are in extremely good condition, because if you lose one, you lose them all. This is what bottomed out in the intro. This is a Curt 2.5 inch, 20,000 pound rated hitch. I put it on here, and I also put a converter box, 12 volt or 24 to 12 volt converter box. I made it. I'll show you the control work for that up in the front. I've got just a regular 7-pin and a 4-pin hitch. I have a Gen Y drop hitch for this that has 2 5/16 2-inch and a pintle hitch, which I don't have out here. But this hitch, to put it on, I had to extend. You see, I bolted this 3/8 inch thick square steel tubing to the frame and extended it out. Problem I had was I couldn't hardly turn the trailer if it was bolted straight to the frame, because it'd be so far under there, being that this bed is longer than the factory one. So that's what I did. It reduces your approach and departure angle, so you'll hit if you go up or down a steep incline, but it's fine. I don't really go off-road with it anyway. Another thing about this truck, this bed is not factory. It is a 16-foot bed from a commercial truck of some sort. I didn't put it on here. This is the way it was when I bought it. And it was originally owned, of course, by the military, and then I believe it was sold to a hospital, because on the driver's side toolbox it said Arkansas Hospital, something like that. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the bed. If I'm going to leave it like this, or if I'm going to go back to the factory style bed. I don't really have a problem with this, but one of the biggest things I have is a problem with is, see, that's blue. This was shipping crates for ATVs that the guy used for a bed that I bought it from, or the guy he bought it from actually. And they're really strong. I mean, this is 3/16 inch U-chant, or a U angle basically. But the problem is it has gaps and it's blue. See, you can just, everything falls in between and it's really frustrating to deal with. So I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with that yet. And another thing you may have noticed is I don't have a plate on this. And in the state of Tennessee, this vehicle, since it's ex-military, is not required to display the plate on the vehicle exterior. I do have an antique plate for it that stays in the glove box, but this is perfectly legal in Tennessee to have no plate displayed, for those that are curious. So when I bought this truck, it didn't have this toolbox here, so I bought this and put it on and I painted it green. And this green paint I used is actually a PPG satin external enamel paint. I just sprayed it on here, and I did spray the underside black with black latex paint. This has been on there. I painted it right after I bought it because it was this horrible red color, being that it was owned by that hospital. And at the time, this probably cost about $220 or so to complete. But I think it looks great, and it's close enough to what it would have been originally. So another thing I thought I'd show is I put two fuse boxes here. One is for 12 volt right here, one is for 24 volt. They're both on a solenoid, or they're both switched, but one is on a solenoid to go to the 12 volt for the first battery in series. People say that'll cause an imbalance and all this, and I mean, unless you're running a 1500 watt heater, it's not going to matter that much. These batteries are pretty old and they've done well. Another thing I did to it is put this muffler. This is I believe it's a Walker 22962. It was for a Bluebird school bus, if I'm remembering correctly. This truck didn't have a muffler when I bought it. It's supposed to have a muffler that bolts to the manifold right in this area. But someone took it off and it was incredibly way too loud. So I got tired of that, put this on here. Made my own bracket. I'll show you that. Excuse the welds. Hose clamped it to the muffler and it's worked really well. Put a flapper on top, a little 5-inch flapper. All right, let me show you in the engine bay. So here it is, NHC250 Small Cam Cummins, 855 cubic inch. This engine has been excellent, and the only thing I've had to do to it is when I first bought it, the thermostat, the stem on it had broken off, so the thing was stuck mostly open. At least it was stuck open, not closed. So I put a new thermostat in it, put a new seal in it, and it worked fine. Something I need to do soon is put new belts on it, new hoses, you know, simple stuff like that. And a problem I did have when I was driving it home is this crossover tube. He had used silicone on it because he thought it was the antifreeze, which it's not. It's the crossover tubes between the head that feed diesel to the PT. It's a PT system, so it's relatively low pressure, but even then it made a huge mess, sprayed diesel everywhere, and it took a bunch of time to go get the right O-rings and all that, but it wasn't too big a deal. All we needed was a flathead and 4 O-rings, and then it was fine. But other than that, it's the only problem I had driving it home. Here's the inside of the truck. Got an EGT. I've never seen it go above 1,000. I've only seen it go up to that when I had it pegged up a hill going about 45 or so, 50 up a really long hill. I didn't let off any, but I just wanted to have it on there since it's non-turbo. I know that the truck generally isn't gonna break itself anyway. I had to put new gauges on it. This truck has about 12,000 miles. The original gauge is in the glove box. But both of these failed and the cables messed up all at once. So put all new gauges and new cables. I do have a brake controller. Never used it. Don't know that I really need it, but I've got it. Got reverse lights, and this trailer 12 volts at the end turns on that control box that I showed earlier. So those relays aren't clicking and wearing out all the time. Got a small fire extinguisher. I need to get a big one. That's what I've got in here for now. Made a little cup holder out of an old ammo can. Thought that worked pretty well. Phone holder, clock. And I bought this console for, I think it was $130. It was a really good deal, but it works awesome. Got my USB ports up there. They're 12 volts. Got switches. One of these is for heated mirrors. I'm going to add some more stuff later. Interior light. And I've redone these seats with this green fabric. I bought these seat covers pre-made, but they worked really well and they look really good, I think. And they match the color of the truck pretty much too. So, and I got my lock for the steering wheel, key. That's about it in here. So that's about everything you need to see on the truck. I'll tell you a little more about it. I got it from a guy in Little Rock, Arkansas. Drove it back to Nashville, about 350 miles, which took 10 hours because of the trouble we had with those crossover tubes I showed. Other than that, it was pretty uneventful. The truck did really well. It'll only go about 50 miles an hour. A little over is its peak, its absolute. But that's why I want those super singles. Supposedly they'll take my top speed to around 60 miles an hour or so, which I'd be happy with. But the other thing is they're tubeless, so I can plug them. And I've got to take these rear tandems off anyway to do the hub service. And I'll make a video on that when I do it. I'll probably do that in the near future. Take these hubs off, grease them. Hopefully won't have to buy new bearings or do the brakes, but we'll have to see about that. So anyway, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.